is to help you survive if you just so happen. When they train the pilots, they think of everything, right? They think of flying across country, flying in combat, taking off, landing. If you happen to crash, if your engine goes out, if you lose the blade, they think of everything. So you go through. That's why it takes so long to go through the training, because they want to make sure you can do everything. Dunker training is just to make sure that you can survive if you were to have a crash over water. All right. So I'm going to show you just a little bit of that.
That is surprising, right? So what's actually a regulator?
That's an instructor that just jumped in. You're seated with your helmet and your uniform on, boots and everything, seat belted in. Then they flip you over, and you've got to get out. You've got no mask, you're having to hold your breath the entire time. It takes a while for one of them. I started getting short of breath while I was watching it this morning. Anybody getting nervous yet?
No.
There's one. I think there's four. There's two. There's three.
Where's three?
Hear them coughing?
What's this?
And there's the fourth one. When you flip over like that, water just goes all up in your nose and your sinuses. And for about 2 or 3 days, your nose and your whole face is hurting because of the pressure. Who thinks they could do that?
I go swim. I was gonna swim.
That's awesome, because I had them bring a dunker tank here with us today. So after class, we're going to go. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm about to get heavy. Did you do that too?
Yes, I did all this.
I'll probably-
Here's one a little bit that they did that's a little more.
Why'd you move it?
So now they're getting rolled over.
Standing upside down.
That's the instructor that's doing that,
How's he standing? Still standing right there.
because he's holding with his hand and his feet.
Oh, he's like he's
So there they are coming out. The one I want you to see is from the camera inside.
Is that thing upside down?
Uh-huh.
No, it's here.
So, I mean, has anyone ever gone swimming with a helmet,
It's
boots,
heavy. No.
fatigues, and a vest on? It's heavy. See, that person's talking about their nose, and
We can't hear him.
now this is a camera inside. Can you see?
No.
You can flick the lights.
Hit that light.
I see the tree.
All right.
That's the person saying.
All right, look.
Oh, I see.
See the water underneath? So you gotta sit like this. You're buckled in, and watch this. Because of where that person's sitting, they've got to let this one go out first before they can even exit. And you'll see that the instructor's head will get in the way, but you'll see it. So then they go into the water. Oh, flipped
What do you
upside
do?
down.
I can do that.
Holding your breath. Here comes the first one across you.
Oh my, this is
That's
ghost.
the instructor that's in the way there. But then you see them get unbuckled,
I see his
and then
body.
they're out the door.
That's the instructor right there.
Yeah, they kind of got in the way.
He's just hanging out there.
Do you know the instructor?
I don't know them. This one I think was interesting because it looks like, I didn't do this part, this is a new part, but it looks like they buckle you to the bottom as if you were flying.
Why?
They strap you as if you're being transported, and so you're connected with a harness to that. They put you underwater, which this one frightened me a little bit, because it takes them forever. But they're rolling over right now.
Wouldn't they be able to get a knife? They cut the seatbelt.
So you do carry a knife, but in training, you're not going to use your knife. You're going to try to go through the proper procedures. So they're underwater this whole time, upside down,
There's no way.
clipped to the bottom of the aircraft. Looks like they're fiddling with it right now, trying to undo it. So the whole reason they teach you to do this, and a large part of Army training in general, is to take you through a controlled environment where it's stressful, but to teach you how to handle the stress. So that when you do get into a situation in real life, you're really calm and cool, and you don't get freaked out. Does that make sense? So you practice it over and over and over until you get really good at it, and then that makes it not so difficult. All right. Any questions so far? All right, let's look at one more. These are, we'll turn the music back on for this. These are a bunch of the different Army aircraft in action and flying, so this should be a pretty good one for you.
Refresh it.
So they get, I guess they're doing a little tour.
Family Day here now, 2012, April. First set of service, we'll take a look inside. Here we are inside.
A lot of instruments to pay attention to.
Here's the inside of the instrument version.
You always pay attention when you're flying. There's never a time where you're just kind of laid back. There is no autopilot on a helicopter.
One of the few generations that have only clouds. What do you think? They're pretty cool? Pretty cool. Fully certified. But this jet right here is, it's only configured for 3, 2 up front, and Bell took out the other 2 seats here. Bell took out the
So that's where the other student, you always have a battle buddy, they call it.
cargo baggage.
That's another flight student, and you're assigned to one instructor.
And,
So when you're flying, and if you're sitting in the back not flying, you can still learn by watching what your buddy's doing. Let's see what else. So they know how to hover. That's a very, very busy movement inside that cockpit that you don't see. Very loud when you're out by a helicopter. It's really loud. Y'all see how different that looks than the landings we were watching earlier? That's what it should look like. But that's somebody who's been through a lot of training. Well, I hate that I couldn't show you some of the other videos. Let me look for one more. We got time to look for one more? So I really want you to see. Remember the helicopters we talked about earlier?
Yes.
So that's the UH, which stands for? Alright, that's the Black Hawk. Y'all heard of the movie Black Hawk Down? Yeah. That aircraft can carry soldiers or carry cargo. It's also used for medevac,
What's that?
which is medical evacuation. Like if someone gets
got
hurt,
shot.
or get shot, they take them out. That's called an air assault. What they're doing out there, they're rappelling down the rope. So that's a Black Hawk. Tell me if you notice any similarities in the names. CH-47, what kind of helicopter is that? Cargo. Look, that's a Humvee and a Jeep that it's carrying. That you could drive those onto that helicopter if you wanted. It's huge.
Will they hit if like you stop real fast?
I'm sure they would. But they're certain, they always make sure that you're very safe, so there's a certain way you have to do everything so that they wouldn't crash, because that would be devastating.
Is there people? Yeah, like people.
Raise your
sit
hand.
there while there's a-
No, you wouldn't sit in the Jeep, son. Yes, sir. Nope, the only one I flew was the little OH-58. It was a real tiny one. Because each helicopter is different, it's not like you can just hop in one, and it's, not like a car where I can drive a truck or a Honda and then a Chevy. They're very much different, so you have to be trained on them
Why didn't you get trained for the bigger helicopter?
by choice. AH-64 Apache, what's the A stand for? Attack helicopter. This one you sit front and back, like in a jet. The pilot, one pilot in the front, one pilot in the back. Every aircraft has two pilots. Every helicopter has two pilots. They have missiles, rockets. That helicopter is intended to destroy targets. Tanks, buildings, stuff like that.
They actually have that helicopter in a book in that bookshelf. Oh yeah, they do.
What's that?
A warrior. Oh.
That's the best helicopter in the Army. That's the one I flew.
No wait, see.
It's the OH-58 Kiowa. What do y'all notice about all the names of the Black Hawk, Chinook,
They all have
Apache,
K's in them.
Kiowa?
They all have K's in them. They're like Indian.
They're all named after Indians. Indian
They
tribes.
go. I didn't know that.
Yep. Kind of to honor the Native Americans who were warriors, they named all the helicopters after Indian tribes. Cool, huh? So that one only has two pilots. They sit on the side. Doesn't it look like the TH-67 just painted green? And with some rockets on it? Basically the same helicopter. That's called the MMS, Mass Mounted Sight, but that's a big camera and a big laser. Because I could put, while we were flying, I could put the laser on the target, and the other pilot could shoot the missile, and it would go straight to that laser. So it's pretty cool. So, all right. 3 more slides, I think. What day is it?
Wednesday.
What's the date? All right. This isn't exactly April 8th, but it was April 3rd, 2003, which was 12 years ago this week. That's me flying in Iraq. Yep, in 2003 when we went to Iraq.
Can you drive?
In Iraq in 2003, we deployed on January 12th, 2003, which was my birthday. And we were there for a year, but we were part of the tip of the spear, if you will, fighting our way to Baghdad when we invaded Iraq in 2003. And so that's what the desert there looks like. Cool, huh? All right. There I am with another pilot in front of our OH-58. This was in Kuwait before we took off. I just wanted to show you because I think I look awesome.
Which one did you, the left one?
Right.
This one. So you can see, trying to get my big body in that little helicopter with all that stuff on makes it very difficult. So somebody asked me if it was hard. Yes, it was. And I just wanted to show you, that is my troop. Those are the soldiers that I went to combat with, and one of our helicopters. I am
Invisible.
that big cat right there.
Is that one?
Uh-huh.
Big head.
So that's Stetson back there. The reason we're wearing those cowboy hats, you'd call them, is because we were part of the cavalry. The cavalry dates back several hundred years to our armed forces, and they would ride on horses with sabers. So when we started creating vehicles and helicopters, we replaced the horses with helicopters. I think it was a good trade. What do you think?
Yeah.